Well, hello there. Welcome back. This is Patty from Little Manitou in Saskatchewan. Finally here with the third installment in my series of videos to introduce natural and village intelligence and the TITLI Way. Today is November 29th, 2024, and uh, it is a very bright white, Christmassy kind of scene outside my window. Wet winter has arrived. And so maybe you're looking for something to do. I think this is probably going to take somewhere around the hour mark. Um, so yeah, settle in, get a cuppa, relax. And here we go for the third installment, which I think for some people might end up being the first video watched. So share my screen. And here we go. So this is about natural and village intelligence and the TITLI Way. TITLI is a short form for Turtle Island Transformational Leadership Initiative, which really intends to bring about free and healthy states of being for people, and states also in terms of organizational units. So I say it's a way for us to organize naturally, to transform leadership and everything else. Quick review. In the first video, I introduced Little Manitou, the land that I live on and that I'm working with, body and also the body of water. I introduced myself, Wild and Salty Healing Company, which is what I call my livelihood adventure, Barefoot Social Working, which is how I'm defining what I do and how I serve, and Natural and Village Intelligence and TITLI, which are the theories and the maps that are part of what I feel like I was born to bring. In video 2, I share some gratitude for ancestors, mentors, elders, and guardians who are in the underneath of all of this. I talk about indigeneity and ethnicity. I talk about land, water, and then I do a fairly substantial introduction to the Fourfold Way basics, the book by Angelise Arian, that inform TITLI, the TITLI Way. In this transmission, I'm going to do a brief retelling of the Fourfold Way in Natural and Village Intelligence to bring it into this moment, and it will serve as an introduction for anybody who starts here. I'm going to bridge those elements into the everyday with a sub-technology that I call the Circle Way. And then I'm going to share the TITLI Way map for community organizing, health, and management, and end with some kind of a call to join in. So, as I said, we start with a review of the Fourfold Way by Angelise Arian. At the core of this work is what the Indigenous people call the medicine wheel, where we, the individual, are at the center of the cross where the four directions meet. And we are in a circle, the circle of life. And for those who are looking into the nature of our realm and how creation works, you will also recognize this medicine wheel as a way to depict the torus, toroidal field, and the way that creation works. Angelise, in her book, she starts with 4 resources, which every human has imbued within them. One is power, one is vision, one is love, and one is wisdom. So we each have these resources within our psyche that we're working with. And then to each one, she associates archetypes. With power, it's the warrior or the leader. With vision, it's the visionary, the seer. With love, it's the healer. And with wisdom, it's the teacher. each of these resources and their archetypes have a way of living and a practice. So to work well with our power, our practice is to show up and choose to be present. And our way of living is to choose right action. And right means that you're not doing any harm. Your actions are good. They're in right relationship, doing no harm. With the vision and the visionary, the practice is to speak truth without blame or judgment. That keeps our life purpose, our life dream, our original medicine flowing. And our way of living is right placement. We are a particular kind of gift, and we need to be in right placement with the world in order to live that gift through and share it with others and live in reciprocity in return. For love, the practice is to pay attention for what has heart and meaning. And the way of living is to speak in right speech, which connects with speak truth without blame or judgment, but it also recognizes that words, sounds are what makes creation. It's how life manifests. The teacher's practice and the way we work with our wisdom is to be open to outcome, not attached. We are verbs constantly flowing and moving and not clinging to things. If we're able to move and adapt easily, to be open to outcome, not attached, then we can bring forward our love, our gifts, our power in right timing. For each of these resources, there is a chapter, and Angelise, goes over the healthy expressions of each resource and also the shadow expressions. So for power, we have honor and respect for ourselves and others, judicious communication, healthy limits and boundaries, responsibility, personal responsibility and discipline, right use of our power, and 3 universal powers, which are presence itself, here now, communication, that's speaking, saying what we mean, meaning what we say, following through with what we say we'll do, and position. What is my position on this particular topic? What do I stand for? What do I stand against? Where am I willing to take a stand? With vision, the healthy expressions are creative purpose and life dream, authenticity, comfortable in our own skin, truth-telling, and 4 ways of seeing, which Angelise breaks down into perception, how I perceive, intuition, how I intuit, insight, how I understand, and vision itself, how I imagine what I see, what I'm working towards building. For love, it's about having a healthy heart. The 4-chambered heart is what she calls it, and that means our heart is full, it is open, it's clear, and it's strong. She talks about 6 kinds of love, the different kinds of love between different people, mates, parents, children, lovers, teachers, the community. She talks about 8 concepts of healing and 8 universal healing principles for self-care, which includes rest, relaxation, play, music, creative purpose, connection, friendship, unconditional love, and the principle of reciprocity, which is really what underpins a natural economy where I am a gift and I am sharing, and you are a gift and you are sharing, and we are acting together in a partnership that is honorable and reciprocal. That is really the basis of a natural economy. For wisdom, the healthy expressions are being clear, being objective, discerning, and doing so from a place of being detached, where we care deeply, but we care deeply from a detached place. Learning to trust and become comfortable with uncertainty, and being able to detach completely, as in the situation we have right now, where we have an old world that we've all loved and counted on falling apart and really not to be saved. Um, it's easy to resist that crumbling away, but we really do need to make, at times in our lives, big detachments from what has been our comfort previously, so that we can step into something much more productive, generative, um, timely, something that's meant for now. And the way that we do that is having a healthy relationship with processing loss through rituals of gratitude and recognition for what it is that we loved, that we don't want to lose, as the parts that aren't working anymore slip away. Um, just like with our people. The shadow expressions for power are rebellion. Uh, Many would say that rebellion is necessary and healthy, and in some contexts it is. This is referring to rebelling for rebelling's sake, having issues with our own authority that we then project onto other people in perceived positions of authority, so that we're constantly in a fight and we're actually driving with the brakes on. Also, patterns of invisibility, where we either hide or hold back, ride on the coattails of powerful people, influence situations from behind the scenes, and harbor addictions to perfection rather than expressions of excellence. For vision, the shadows are the false self system. We feed a version of us that isn't really real, but that somehow makes us feel safer out there in this crazy world, which ends up being self-abandonment. We're abandoning who we really are. Reflective mirrors and projections. There is an awful lot of projection going on. It is natural, when you're feeling coming from your fear side, to project your fears and your judgments onto other people, to project your beliefs onto other people, to want to project control onto other people, to take people a certain way and then project the way you took them onto somebody else. It's really quite messy in this one particular area. If we could understand this better and lean into what it is that we're having trouble with, we'll connect our medicines and our genius much easier. Fixed perspectives and blind spots, when we get stuck in our own ways of seeing and we forget that there are, you know, what, 8 billion of us, so they say, and that we all have a different point of viewing. We all have a different life purpose. We're all a different point of consciousness and love and productivity in this situation. And if I'm here and you're there, things look very differently. So for me to get stuck in my perspective means that I have blind spots to everything else. Here we also can end up being quite negative and complaining. We're addicted to what is not working rather than appreciating what is working and building from that. With love, we have the opposite of that full, open, clear, and strong heart, with with half-heartedness, a closed heart, a doubting heart, and a weak heart. When we're feeling like this, it's hard for us to take care of ourselves. We end up in a vicious circle of poor self-care and closed heart. And we will be more likely to indulge in one of the 4 addictions. I've already talked about 2, with the addiction to perfection and what is not working with power and vision. With love itself, it's the addiction to intensity. Love is what makes us feel alive, and when we're not flowing with love, we will create intensity just to feel alive and to feel like we belong. And And then we end up doing just the opposite. We end up getting ourselves exiled quite often. The fourth one is the need to know, and it connects with the resource of wisdom, whose shadows, in addition to that addiction to the need to know, which is a form of control, are patterns of positionality. This is my position. I'm right. You're wrong. No, this is the way it needs to be. And we end up in a competition, intense friction with other people rather than a collaboration. We get confused in the shadow side of wisdom, and our attachments will flare up, and we'll start to cling to what we have known quite fiercely, which really gets in the way of our well-being. The way of the circle brings the fourfold way into an agreement of practice. And that agreement of practice then guides our relating and grounds and centers us with life and each other. If we practice this, the practice itself facilitates a continual illumination of individual and group perspective, needs, resources, and opportunities. So in the way of the circle, we start with the circle, and here we all are, all around it. We're facing each other, we're equals, side to side, arm to arm, hand to hand. We show up and choose to be present at the circle as the discipline for working with our power. We ground into our heart, drop down into our heart, and ground with the earth, and we pay attention for what has heart and meaning. When it's our turn to speak, we practice speaking our truth without blame or judgment. That brings our vision forth. And we're open to outcome, not attached. That keeps us in that active stage of being a verb rather than a noun. We are each spirit, soul, flesh, and blood, a life with purpose, power, needs, and resources unfolding moment by moment. We are each perceiving life and collecting experience. We are equals in creation. Each true voice of perception, discernment, need, and ability is needed and meant to be included. Our practice for healing, connection, and co-creating in harmony without wasting sight, abilities, and energy is a holistic practice with our resources in the ways that Angelise describes. We gather around questions, we bring ideas and needs into the light, we contribute ourselves, and we receive the contributions of others, and reality unfolds naturally in our wake. In red now, I've brought forward the ways of living, the practice. Right action for power, right placement for vision, right speech for love, right timing for wisdom. This practice, bringing this all together, brings us into right relationship. When people say, oh, this will never work, people don't get along, this is my response. It's this kind of investment of theory and practice and willingness to show up again and again, to discipline ourselves this way, is what our new world, our new economy, our new communities that work so much better than the ones that we're experiencing now. That's what it's going to take. And it's not a sacrifice. It's a discipline that can generate spectacular rewards. So now, village intelligence. We've got the 4 directions in our circle, in the circle way, all of us. And now I'm going to populate it with the resources and the archetypes and the people who are typical for each quadrant. So with power and leaders and warriors, we have the masculine aspect of humanity and our men. With vision, We have the visionary, which is our genius and our sight, and our people are our children and youth. With love and healing and reciprocity, we have the feminine aspect of creation and our women. And with wisdom, we have elders and mentors, are our people, and our archetypes are learning, teaching, learning, two sides of the same coin, and the experience itself. This, I'm bringing this forward from an earlier part in the presentation. With our power and in leadership, we're protecting and providing for life and loved ones. We're building, we're expanding, we're doing no harm. That is the masculine aspect and impulse, naturally. The feminine aspect and impulse is feeling, accepting, and nurturing the life and creativity coming into, alive, and leaving the plane. With children and youth, we have the curious exploration of self in the life, dreaming and growing as a healthy, self-propelling contributor. And with wisdom in our elders, we have guidance for careful relations with all creating beings in the community. And in the center of our village intelligence, we have the rites of passage that carry us through, carry us wisely through our initiatory experiences of birth, childhood, adolescence, adulthood, partnership, parenthood, and saging and elderhood before the final passage of death. And along with those rites of passage, we have village hubs where we meet to do our human things together in community and to participate in trade, to build these rites of passage and experience them, and to just make participating and contributing to community and community leadership and health and freedom the most natural things. Okay, so now we arrive at TITLI, the Turtle Island Transformational Leadership Initiative. There's those 4 directions again, and the resources of power, vision, love, and wisdom. In the map, we have the landmass, which today is known as North America, but that prior to the countries of Canada and the United States and Mexico taking shape, we had, the pre-colonial civilization, which some of the original people called, or the pre-colonial landmass, which some of the original people called Turtle Island. And I use that name, Turtle Island, to get us back to land and water. And in here you see the watersheds in regions, and you can see how watersheds nest in watersheds that actually nest in even bigger watersheds. They're like Russian dolls nesting inside of each other. And within those watersheds, we have our settlements of various sizes and configurations. Turtle Island isn't exclusive to Turtle Island. I name it that just because that's where I come from, but every landmass has its watershed regions. Here are some of the pictures I found online to show what they look like on different continents. So whatever landmass we sit upon, whether it's Turtle Island or another one, it doesn't matter. Land is earth. It's full of information and creating wisdom. Each and every human needs and has an inherent birthright to a land base and a direct connection to what really amounts to nature's university. Once you connect with land and water, you start to learn from land and water. Watersheds are natural regions in the land. As I said, they pool and they flow. They nest in sets that nature makes with her hills and valleys. They're on the surface and underground. They range in form, size, and composition. They all carry matter and information that nourish and teach us. Water, as it is often said, is life. It's very, very true. Without the water, we're nothing. We're dry. The settlements are groups of people living in proximity to one another. In the TITLI Way, people in settlements of all sizes maintain intention and attention on making peaceful and thriving village together, sharing responsibility and resources for ordinary and extraordinary life, caring with and for the health of people, nature beings, water, and land. So now I'm going to add the people back in from the village intelligence, the circle way, 4 directions, the hubs, and the positive and negative poles of creation that help us, discreate, create, in breath, out breath, discreate, create, in breath, out breath. And of course, in the center, I have the online and on-land hubs. And there is our people again. And the impact of each of these groups. So every physical village needs hubs where the dream, intention, and attention can be focused and nurtured through regular gatherings and trade. Regional hubs will emerge organically in their own timing through relationships of cooperation that make sense with or without physical locations. An online village hub where all of TITLI's wisdom and tools are gather and make more life with generative responses will support all people in all hubs everywhere, disseminating the capacity building freely to find its way into the fabric of the interested everywhere. The circle way brings the fourfold way into relational practice in all conversations, helping to connect and weave us with strength and light in a shared agreement of personal and group responsibility and right relationship. It is my felt sense that gathering to dream about, design, and materialize our hubs together in a practice of the circle way is top of the community projects list moving forward. Just had to stop my share there for a minute because everything seemed to seize up. So just bear with me for a minute. All right, I think I got it back. Okay, so now we move into the function of the community. So, Buckminster Fuller says, you never change things by fighting existing reality. To change things, make new models that render the old ones obsolete. And that's where the cafes, circles, assemblies, projects, and councils come in. What they do is give us an opportunity from the grassroots without asking for permission to begin to gather over our shared, our personal lives and our shared responsibilities in a way that runs our communities, that doesn't require what the governments are bringing. So we're taking personal responsibility for our personal well-being and also for the well-being of our community. So we have our activities for the cafes, circles, assemblies, projects, and councils include leadership, visioning, health, and learning, which go right in tune with the maps, presencing and responding to relevant needs and subjects for the group, whatever the group is, whatever the local group is, creating community projects, and also working through reconciliation work, which is the nature-based way of doing justice. And then for our people, we have circles and councils that represent men, women, youth, and elders. And this is where we really tend to the healthy soul part of us. So I'll give you a little bit more detail on the ideas here. A cafe is the most casual gathering, and we use a cafe when we have a purpose to introduce and explore new people, new information, new ideas. Cafes should be really fun. They can be prolific in their numbers. This is a great way for us to explore new territory, new ideas, and to bond without any of the tension that we might feel in a vulnerable circle sharing or in the formalities, the more formal nature of a council with particular responsibilities and accountabilities. Circles are kind and creative spaces for vulnerable personal work and relationship or situation development or remedy. Circles are for our health as individuals and in the situations we get into together. Assemblies are for calling all members of the village or a subgroup in the village together for a purpose of significance. Projects are temporary configurations of interested and qualified people to address certain matters of village evolution and development. So I'm hosting a community project, just introduced it for this winter solstice season, for example, where we come together to make trees out of branches that have already been cut down, and to decorate them with boughs. And we're going to make a garden together, and then we're going to have a solstice celebration. Community project could also be to create the hubs, as I mentioned earlier. And then another one that I bring up in a slide or two would be for developing modern day rites of passage to help us address all of the missed initiations we've had, missed or botched or whatever, bad birth stories, trouble in adolescence, trouble becoming an adult, trouble in parenthood and partnership, trouble growing into an elder. And there's Sage just popped up to say hello from the background, I guess. Anyway, projects come and go. They don't have the same weight and ball and chain feel of the old world's way of doing things. You bring the right people together who've got the right skills for the right things at the right time. because we want to, and because we're all happy to contribute. Councils carry the ultimate degree of responsibility and accountability for the leadership, wisdom, vision, and health of the community. Councils may be structural and permanent, as in for leadership and learning and healing and innovation, or they can just be temporary for things that matter and need accountability and discipline, but are temporary situations. So councils for leadership, visioning, health, and learning, addressing relevant needs and subjects for the group, community projects, reconciliations, plus men, women, youth, and elders. So the first set is about functionality. And the second set, that's more people-oriented, is about the spiritual, emotional, and relational aspects of our humanity. And if any other categories of function or people are needed to accurately reflect the people in any given group at any given time, they can be added and deleted as needed. Assemblies call councils and people together, and they can happen as needed and are also integral to every convention. I say here quarterly convention. I think in the beginning, we're probably going to need quarterly conventions for a year or two. And then we might go to semi-annual, or what is it? What's twice a year? Is it semi-annual or biannual? We might go to twice a year. And then eventually you might even go to once a year, but you should always still be gathering quarterly to, at the very least, celebrate and do trade and to connect. And whether you call that a convention or not, I guess doesn't really matter. Then the final parts of this puzzle are, number one, an ongoing culture camp, which is where we start with the learning part of this map. And I would say, to begin with, we start with at least a 3-month semester in culture camp based in these maps, natural and village intelligence and TITLI. And then as the community grows and our knowledge and talent base grows, we will grow the culture camp with our people and be adding things all the time, because we're not all meant for the same things. We're all, variety is the spice of life, and truth comes to us through many different vantage points. I mentioned rites of passage. So rites of passage are a huge part of us staying well as souls and spirits and with our psyche. And so rites of passage are another pillar of the healthy, the free and healthy state. The quarterly conventions, as I mentioned, the regular gatherings, probably on the solstice, around the solstices and equinoxes. So those are powerful points in the year in the creative cycle. And then regular broadcasting. So we will be disseminating this information through regular broadcasting, as well as the culture camp and the rites of passage and the quarterly conventions. We'll be weaving it all together, cross-pollinating the flowers and building the mortar between the bricks, laying the mortar between the bricks with regular broadcasting. And I want to say just a few things about broadcasting. I already said most of this, so I'm just gonna let you read it. I can't wait to meet all the people who say, yes, rites of passage. I want to be part of figuring out how we do that well in these times. Natural and village intelligence and the TITLI Way are already a huge evolutionary rite of passage, and I think it's important to point that out. This is a big deal. The reason it's taking so many videos to present this is because of how huge it is. It's very comprehensive. I was a project manager, a project designer and manager for the best years of my career in the mainstream. And so for me, it's always about that. It's about trying to find the intuitive things that cause the most good, that are the easiest things to say yes to and to maintain. And that really takes calm, steady wisdom and care. It's just super important. All right. So this is the piece about regular broadcasting. I'm a bit on a soapbox here. I recognize this, but it what I see in modernity is just a constant broadcasting of spells that are made of artificial ideas and judgments. And in effect, they diminish our natural intelligence, our health and capacity continuously. They're just a constant negative influence. And when it comes to media, both legacy and new media entities are contributing. So items that get shared are often unsubstantiated, they're judgmental, they're emotional, and much of it is intentional programming that is then naively parroted. A lot of it is created and disseminated without wisdom, care, or attention. Money gets wound in there as a key motivator for a lot of people. Many voices are lone wolves and end up promoting individualism inherently because they're not attached to others in healthy collaborating scenarios. And so as a result, programming, unconscious personal judgments, fears, and grief leak through the airwaves profusely. And now we've got AI broadcasting an even more shallow copy of our humanity and life, and it seems to grow exponentially each day. Many of us are consuming some or all of this toxic spell casting constantly and mirror its frequency through our feelings, words, and choices to varying degrees. So no doubt about it, broadcasting works and healthy media is needed. So in the TITLI Way, there is imagined ethical, practical, and wise broadcasting of naturally intelligent ideas, remedies, stories, and encouragement in alignment with the maps. If we're constantly taking up spells, let them be benevolent ones. So regular broadcasting will be, as I said, the mortar between bricks, a cross-pollination of flowers, and a warm fire in the winter, cooling waters under the hot sun. It'll be a relief. TITLI is about stepping into our sovereign power and personal responsibility, paying attention for what is needed, and responding in natural and village intelligence style, transforming leadership and everything else. I just want to insert nature's compass and calendar in here. In the north, we have winter. In the south, we have summer. In the east, we have spring with the rising sun and the dawn of the new season. And in the autumn, we have, in the autumn is west, where the sun goes down. The moon cycle brings us a new moon on the dark night of the winter solstice and every month. the waxing moon through the spring, full moon, the summer solstice, and the waning moon in the autumn. Over the course of a year in nature, we have 13 moon cycles. Each one of them would be one of nature's months, and they each last about 28 days. New moon is associated with night and winter, waxing moon with morning and spring, full moon with midday and summer, waning moon with evening and autumn. We have our northeast, south, and west. And back to the resources in the map of power in the north, vision in the east, wisdom in the west, love in the south. In the wheel of life, the new moon and the night are the time each day, year in life, when life releases and rests, preparing for rebirth. So that's where we're heading into now. Spring is the time each day, year in life, when life surges and grows with most vigor. Summer is the time each day, year in life, when life is at its fullest, flowering and fruiting. And autumn is the time each day, year in life, when we experience, or when our experiences are digested and metabolized. This is an image I call rings of power, and it begins with the four directions, and at the center, my sacred hoop, my life force and purpose, me, and you are, of course, in the center of your circle. Around me are my loved ones. That's my next layer of responsibility. Then I have my community and my vocational contribution to it. Around that, I have my region, which is the larger region of land and water. And then I have my nation, which now at this point in time in my life is Canada, but which may or may not continue as we move forward and evolve. We don't know how we might shift as we reconnect with nature and realign our lives to be a genuine natural expression of the health and vibrancy nature is capable of. After my nation, I have my continent, which is Turtle Island, and then there's our world that we share. So those are the personal rings of power, responsibility, and impact. And this is where we take pure self-interest and understand it as a good term, not a bad term, as a healthy thing, not an unhealthy thing. A pure self-interest is not a self-centered, selfish, I don't care about anybody else thing. It's an acceptance of personal responsibility for your own frequency and the impact you create. And when we feel and be well, we become generative creators. And when we are generative creators, we are not just creative, but compassionate, wise, and logical in all of our connecting with others. And we can do so from a place of intending and focusing on our own well-being, grounded and centered with the living world, and our contributions that bring just natural living into our co-creation as currency in a golden frequency, golden kind of frequency. So my hypothesis is that in a world where TITLI-style local community hubs for health, trade, learning, and grassroots leadership are popping up and connecting with one another, regional, national, and continental network versions of principled collaboration and partnership with nature will emerge organically. We organize and focus our power in a right relationship way. We do it from the land and water, on up through us and into our relationships. We reactivate the earth economy grid of connection and cooperation. We heal, we grow up. We shift into heart-based partnerships and creativity guided by love through our feminine aspects in an exceptional partnership with our masculine aspects of rationale and drive. I predict that if we step into this, we can metabolize our transformational pains with this willingness to be present and connect and to accept responsibility, to be seen, to stop hiding, to stop holding back, and to learn the skills and desire to collaborate and innovate together. They say all politics are local. So when we start local, we get strong there, and then we naturally weave larger, intuitive, and productive webs into greater TITLI value-styled centers. Now, this is not a movement. This is not a religion. This isn't saying everybody, you need to be TITLI. You need to do things the TITLI way now. You need to call yourself TITLI. It's not like that at all. It's about capacity building. People want to call it TITLI, that's fine. If they don't, that's fine. It doesn't matter because none of that matters. What matters is how we show up and how we work together, and how we share responsibility for everything, for the health of everything. So now what? So right now it's me, and there's a small handful of people who've been through the culture camp once or twice or thrice. But all positions, every position possible in those maps, whether it's for space holding, welcoming, care, feeding, activities, technology, anything inherent in the maps, all those positions that will structure and animate a central and local TITLI hubs are open. And TITLI is welcoming willing, interested, and accountable folk who resonate with the concepts and vibe conveyed by the maps to come together to explore, intuit, organize, design, plan, build, invite, host, be curious, be responsive, adapt, expand, choreograph, receive, deliver, you name it. So this is a chance for, this isn't for everybody at this level. Eventually, TITLI is for everybody. But in the beginning, here we're designing and building. So this is a chance, if you're ready, to step into your power and become a leader in your personal theme of authentic service for your family, for your community, your region, and our earth realm, to be part of a unifying solution to help bring about free and healthy states of being and beings everywhere. All right, well, there is most of it. When I get to the fourth video will be created based on your feedback and questions, so that I can fill in anything that I missed. Excuse me. Yeah, address things that I missed. So what you can do is help me by engaging with the material and be part of that mirroring that informs what comes next. You can send me an email at Wild and Salty Healing Company at protonmail.com. You can comment under this video. I'm also working on putting this material up in other social spaces. I already have a Rumble account, an Odyssey account, a Locals account, and a Substack account, which don't have much on them. So I'll probably build those in, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to clean out my website. You can look at that. There's nothing there that's wrong, but there's nothing there that really reflects this particular moment yet either. I wanted to get these videos done so that they could become the backbone for a fresh presentation of the website. All right. Um, that's it, folks. I couldn't remember what was next because I have some extra slides in here. And so we'll just go out on this as a reiteration. Okay, there we go. Thanks so much for participating. And I really look forward to whatever it is to come.